Welcome to A Fine Podcast with your hosts, Amanda and
Joseph, yes. Welcome. We are here to discuss and to continue on with the Love is Blind.
yes, Love is Blind UK Season 2, and we are discussing the next batch of episodes, 5 through 8 today.
Yes, we are finally getting to see them a little more in what their daily lives would look like.
Well, first, how has your day been so far?
Yeah, it's been going well.
Oh, yeah, such a, like you're sitting in school.
It's quite chipper. I had a little bit of coffee this morning, and I am now
From your favorite place?
sitting here. Not my favorite place, but
Not your favorite place?
no,
Why not?
because I'd like to make it myself.
So home is your favorite place to have coffee?
I like to make my coffee at home.
Okay, you can't be serious.
Or we could spruce it up and have Dunkin' for a change.
Yeah, we used to go to Starbucks and Dunkin' and alternate, and now it has been heavily Starbucks.
No, it's all right. This is good. It's good to just have one place and just to spearhead everywhere you go. It's just there, just without a doubt, without thought, without thinking. Just
We can
boom,
have
boom,
Dunkin'
boom.
sometimes. We can have Dunkin'. But I really like Starbucks, and our usual orders are delicious.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's nice to just not think though. And
Yeah.
just order and go.
You have your usual at your favorite place,
Yes.
or your second favorite place because your first favorite place is home.
Yes. To make you happy, yes. It's my favorite place.
Yeah, right. You just said it. At least we could sprinkle like Dunkin' in there sometimes, right? Is Dunkin' your favorite place? Home doesn't count for this.
I mean, I guess, yeah, I don't get exposure to anywhere else, so it's my
He's a
favorite
shut-in.
place.
He doesn't get exposure.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. So Dunkin's your favorite?
No, I'll say Starbucks is my
Starbucks.
favorite.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We can go explore. Let's go to some local coffee
No,
shops.
it's okay. We like our big box chains.
A big box chain.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's nice to hear you say home is a good place for you too for coffee.
Yeah. Thought that was a great answer.
Well, there's Starbucks creamer at home. So.
Yeah, they give you the whole experience without having to even shop.
Okay, we
there
don't
now.
get the whole experience. It gives you only like a quarter to half of the experience.
I mean, if I got the beans and I got the creamer, then what else do I need?
It's never as good as getting it from Starbucks.
Wow.
It's really good, but I don't know. It's like a different experience getting it from Starbucks.
Oh, okay. Tastes pretty similar to me.
Do you think?
I mean,
If you got blindfolded and you tasted something from Starbucks and something from home, would you be able to tell the difference?
yes, I don't think they're exact. Because, I mean, I think the creamer flavors are very different.
Not as good as the Starbucks.
I mean, they're not like the same drinks that you get, but
They're really good. It's just a different experience.
Yes.
So is that your favorite part about today?
Yes.
No, it wasn't. Well, this weekend was fun. We got to spend some time with family, and it was my brother's birthday, and we got to celebrate him, which was really fun. So we went out for pizza. We came home and had some coffee and cake and talked.
Yeah, it was a nice time. It was a good celebration.
Yeah. So let's continue on that celebration by talking about the couples going out into somewhat of a real world experience now, even though they go into fully set up, furnished apartment.
I think they should start them in a dump of a of a apartment. I don't know. I would say because these apartments look very nice. Like they look, I think they could be like nicer than some of the
It's essentially almost continuing on the honeymoon phase because you get this super nice apartment to stay in.
I just think there's so much of this continuing of you're getting this grand experience while you're in this, and then once you go back to normal life, it's this big shift because you've been living this grand lifestyle, for the couple weeks or everything, and that's how you're starting off, and then you kind of have to get thrown back into potentially a worse situation than what you had. So then that is just going to add, I think, potential stress on the relationship.
Let's go in chronological order of what has happened. So we will go through the couples in the order of what happened. Then we will go over the big meetup with the cast getting to see each other all together. And then we'll go over what happens after that.
Yeah, it sounds like a great plan.
I'm so happy you
Very
agree with
thought
that.
out. I like it.
So first we have Ashley and Billy. So it opens up with Billy being really nervous to meet Ashley's dad. And we learn that her father has never met a boyfriend before. So a lot of pressure here. But her dad meets him and she decides to then break the news that Billy isn't just her boyfriend. It's her fiance. And her father goes, "Oh, as in getting married soon, fiance?"
I was thinking about this where I wonder if she mentioned this like in her casting call or audition, that she had never introduced like a boyfriend to her father before.
And they're like, "That's great.
And
Let's get her
then-
on the air."
Yeah, because it's like if she does match, this could be great drama that unfolds from this. I don't know. For some reason, it just was like a thought of mine that like popped in my head when they mentioned this. Because
And maybe they thought there would be more drama than what actually happened as well.
yeah, because they tried to, when they first met, it was this, basically blindsiding the father that, oh, I said he was my boyfriend, but actually he's my fiance,
Yep.
and they kind of hit that off the bat, and then there was almost they tried to create this suspense, but then it actually went pretty well. He really
Yeah.
didn't take it like he really wasn't standoffish or put off it, and really kind of shut it down. I mean, I think he had reasonable questions, but it definitely wasn't like this crazy.
Scary thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it is scary to tell your father this, especially in front of somebody new too, because you could not really predict what their reaction's going to be, but he was mainly proud of her, said he just wants her to be happy. They had a nice heartwarming moment. He trusts her judgment and he says he supports them. And then she gets emotional and asks if he will walk her down the aisle. And he says, "Of course I'll walk you down the aisle." So,
Yeah, which then I think he started to tear up or
yeah.
at least get a little emotional.
Yeah.
like she was
They
saying.
both cry there.
Yeah.
And something weird that we thought, and this probably was just cut out of the scene as insignificant, but there was no one-on-one with Billy and the father to like get to know each other better.
Yeah, I thought that because you saw it with a lot of the others, maybe not directly one-on-one, but at least, somewhere where, some of the other people had more family members present, but there wasn't, right? Because they always have this awkward moment where it's like, oh, I'm gonna make some tea now. Would you like to come with me,
Right.
mom or whoever? And
Or maybe they just decided that's too awkward and silly to put on camera, especially if like nothing significant was really said. I don't know. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't think there was enough for them to even consider airing, since they didn't. I bet they did, but there just wasn't anything to really even have worth showing. Because I can't imagine you would have not had. I mean, I would want that time.
but you have to think this has to be really weird for the father. Like, oh, my daughter's getting married in 3 weeks. I don't know who this person is. And like, he barely said a word to me. He's like a mystery, and he's joining my family in 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, that's why I would want that time to really.
Yeah, I want the one-on-one. And I'm
Yeah.
sure they had it or something, and we just didn't see it. I would hope that they would have had it. So,
Well, it was weird because they also showed just a lot of, it was just it was Ashley and the father talking. Like
Like they were
the
catching up.
recorded, or at least the, edited, that they showed, it looked like Billy said like nothing the whole time. Like he was pretty much just like
Which that
silent
is
in the
bizarre. He
corner.
was like the silent partner.
Yeah, like that seemed.
That would make me really uncomfortable as the parent, right? It's like, say something.
I think this was just like an editing thing.
Yeah, I
probably,
think so
but
too. But
It just was strange.
okay, let's get into the real drama of Ashley and Billy, and it's their food differences. So we see a scene where they're going grocery shopping, and Ashley goes, "Oh, you'll find me in this aisle," and it's with like the cakes and cookies and sweet treats. And Billy is very against that and says, "Oh yeah, I run away screaming from this aisle. I don't want any of those things in my house." And she says, "Well, they're going to be in our house because I like some sweet treats during the week." And he's like, "Sweet treats are forbidden in the house. That'll ruin me." So there's a huge argument between them on this at the grocery store, and then it carries on at their apartment.
Yeah, this was a little strange. I didn't really like. I don't see really what the issue was. If she just gets it, I mean, he doesn't have to eat it, right? She could get
I
it.
feel like he was almost like, "Oh, I'd just be tempted if you get it, so that's why I don't get it at all." And I mean, that's not right too. I mean, so, but he says he's very controlled with his food and he's very into fitness, but it almost seems like he doesn't like have any leeway at all to enjoy an occasional sweet treat.
I mean, that's fine. I just thought you just stick to your regiment, and then she'll get, get one of these things. Because I mean, she mentioned like right for her weekly trip, she'd probably always come home with at least one thing, like one type
thought it
of
was like a
sweet
couple
bakery
things.
thing. Well, yeah,
But yeah, I
at
can relate
minimum
to that.
one, but yeah, but it was just like, all right, she'll eat it, and then you
Stick to your
refrain
thing.
from it,
Right.
and then what's the big deal? You have one little, piece in the cupboard to allocate to this sweet, and then that's it. I don't know.
Well, I can almost feel like her sadness about it because I think she wants him to like indulge in some things sometimes with her.
But that's what I was thinking, because I mean, you're the same way with that.
Yeah.
So that's why.
That's why I could like relate. I'm like, "Oh, come on, just this guy can like use some of his calorie, like just work out more that day or something, and then you can eat a sweet treat with her."
That's what, because yeah, I did think of that towards the end, and that must be what it is. Because if it's not that, then it really makes no sense at all to me why this would be such a big discussion over this.
Yeah. It's probably just disappointing to her. Like, "Oh, like we're supposed to have some of my favorite foods together and we can't eat this together like once a week." Even once a week? I mean, that's crazy to say, "No, I can't eat it."
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's like I said. I mean, he gives a valid point too, right? Because he's very much, I can't tell, my soldiers one thing and do the opposite, which I get. But
yeah, but that's if you're going crazy on it, right? Like,
well, it sounds like he's already been telling them never, or it's like once in a blue moon.
which is that realistic to follow too? I don't know.
Yeah.
He tells them never. Well,
Yeah.
and then in the store she says, "I don't want to just eat rice and mince for dinner every day." And he goes, "That's all I eat for dinner."
Yeah.
And she's like, she wants to like break down in tears hearing that. And then at home, she's just stewing on this and she says, "I don't want to feel guilty for having my, cabinet portion of my cabinet full of my sweet treats. And you're like sitting there judging me." And he says, "Oh, there's nothing to feel guilty about. It's okay. You can have it." So she really just wants Billy to compromise in some areas with her, which sounds reasonable. So I don't know. She does also talk about how she has used food to help put on some healthy weight for her because she was too skinny too. And then Billy has had the opposite problem. Like he's tried to eat less so he can stay lean. So it's like two different mindsets too. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's hard. You have to respect both mindsets, but there's got to be some compromise between the two of them. Like maybe she can enjoy his mince and rice for dinner, and maybe once a week they can have a little portion of a sweet treat, right? That's what a marriage is about.
Right. Yes. Yeah. 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 I mean, it's the first time they're having it. I think, they're up. They're going to start learning this, and there's give and take with everything. So this is just kind of their first experience of learning how to do that. So.
Right. Two different people coming together. But the drama doesn't start there, because then her being an air hostess comes up quite a bit as being a giant problem for Billy now. He brought it up previously in the pods, and then they figured they can make it work. And then now it's just like always in the corner of his mind that she's going to be away at her job and how this can be detrimental to a marriage.
Yeah. I mean, she mentions that she's on a track to, or, she is willing to find something else that's, more of a being able to stay at the house more, kind of more of a, typical job versus being traveling so much. And I mean, I think she said, to try to make it happen within like 6 months.
Did she say that?
I thought I remember hearing
because then
something.
this shouldn't be an issue at all.
I mean, that's what I thought she said, she would be on track to be able to get something like relatively soon, not like this. It's going to take me a couple of years to get something. So I don't know. I guess it is a big deal because.
Or maybe it's like one of those things where it's easier said than done, and he's not too sure if it can actually happen within that time frame.
Yeah, I mean, that could be true. But
I think since he's been burned so many times in the past dating.
But I think too, he's very he's so regimented with this thing, and he really doesn't want it to. I don't think he really wants any change in it at all, which I think is a little naive because, you're gonna have to if you want to get married, or if you don't, then stay single. But it's gonna happen.
He has to compromise.
Yeah.
In a couple different areas.
Yeah, and there's things that I don't think he probably is going to be willing to, and that's where there's going to be the biggest fights. Now, I don't know. I feel like they expose these little like insecurities or things that they have, like the cabin crew manager, and then the producers just nail into that over and over and over. Because I don't know, just so that like that, we'll get later on to like with the whole Demla thing. Like it's just, I feel like they just find this little exposure of, a weed in their relationship, and then they just like pour fertilizer like crazy on that, and they try to get a whole garden of weeds sprouting through their relationship.
Yeah, one issue, and then just keep bringing it up.
It's just constantly over and over and over. Like, we see when she meets his dad, he brings it up. And he's like, "Oh, Billy, I thought you said you would never."
Yeah, and she's like totally upset by that too. And she says, like, I really didn't like when his father brought that up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it just seems like just a little out of the norm how much it gets.
Well, that's kind of weird because Billy directly looked at his dad and said, "Okay, I'm entering this experience. The one person I don't want to meet is an air hostess, though, because I've been burned in the past."
Yeah.
So it's probably upsetting to hear.
I don't know. Maybe there's just a lot of air hostesses around where he lives.
Air hostess.
Because
I like the way you dress. Okay. I'm going to sing Air Hostess by Busted.
Yeah.
Right. You would love that. Sing it.
Air hostess. Dress. Mess. Rest. Yeah, dress.
Mess.
Yeah. Pants.
Yeah, I know. That's the word I was looking for. Pants. You fill in the blank of the air hostess song. So a cute scene is when she met Ollie, Billy's dog, that Billy's father brought over.
Yeah. I mean, yes, yeah.
That broke the tension a little bit of all the air hostess drama and the food drama. And then she meets Billy's mother and sister, and they have some sweet treats on a tray ready to greet them. And they make a couple jokes about that because his mom and sister love sweet treats.
Yeah, I mean, they were going to very get along, but they also made like little fruit platter for
Oh, and they said, here's
Billy
your fruit,
because,
Billy. Yeah.
because he wasn't going to have any partake in any of that. So he gets his little fruit platter while they have their.
I mean, I do think that's good on Billy if he wants to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing with both. There's nothing wrong with either of it. It's just why not just let her have the things and then.
Which I don't think he really had a problem with her having it at the end after their argument. He said, you can have your stuff. And
Yeah, I mean, they had a discussion at the end there that kind of. I think he thought about it more, and I mean, was saying that have your little dedicated space for it, and then voila, that's it. I think he was kind of taking back some of his more of just emotional reaction to the beginning of it.
I think because he's tried so hard to avoid it
Yeah,
and to not have
right.
it in his presence because he doesn't want to be tempted by it. So it's like an emotional thing for him.
Yeah.
It's emotional on both extreme ends. So Billy tells his sister he doesn't know what he's ultimately going to do here because he wants stability in his life and he is unsure about her being an air hostess. So Ashley looked very happy and excited to meet his mother and sister and really bonded with his mom, which was really sweet, though. She says, I can't wait for you to be my mother-in-law. And they have a heartwarming moment.
Yeah, they blended well, very nicely, and I think they
really got along.
Yeah, I mean they really had no differences on anything, or I think for a first time they blended well,
and she's probably like, oh, Billy doesn't want to have a dessert. Let me go call my mother-in-law and we go sit and eat some cake together.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it would be an easy fit for her with them.
Well, I am worried about the future now because it looks like Ashley's all in.
Yeah, so we see, like here we saw where Billy and the sister broke off into, they went inside the house to kind of have a little powwow while Ashley and his mother were chatting. But we see the sister, really kind of asking how Billy feels, and he kind of mentions he's on the fence, like he doesn't have a definitive yes of actually going through with the marriage yet. But Ashley does pretty much feel like she's, all in on this. She's already pretty much like a yes for sure, unless, something were to happen. But at this moment in time, she's there. She's in it. Where he doesn't seem to be.
So we will talk more about them towards the end of this episode after the big get together too, with how that ends. But let's talk about Megan and Kieran now. They both get their phones back and they immediately sit next to each other and look at each other's Instagram pictures. Which, that'd be pretty boring if you and I did that with each other.
Yeah, I haven't made a post in a long time.
Years.
More than years. Decades.
No, decades? Like multiple of them?
Yeah, it's not even been around for like 20 years. But no, I mean,
that means you never made a post.
Yeah, it's been, a very, very long time. But yeah, because this was actually something I guess they almost made a little bit. They made it with like kind of Billy and Ashley too. When they first got into the apartment or whatever, was like, oh, we've got our phones back and we can do all this. They kind of made like a big deal about getting the phones back. But I don't know. I guess for me, be like, oh, great. Yeah, I got it back or whatever. But
and you'd see like a few pictures of you on social media. Very old pictures and a few of them and probably the same for me, for the most part.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It just is. I don't know. For me, it would not be like this big exciting thing or big reveal to. I guess they were fun. They made it funny with like the Billy and Ashley. I guess about like, oh, can I get your number now?
Right.
I'm your fiance and I don't even have your number yet or whatever. Like that was kind of a little funny thing, but
Yeah, they're already engaged and they don't have each other's phone numbers.
yeah.
Bizarre. So they have a pretty good relationship. They seem to really connect. He gets her some nice flowers and she really appreciates that. They tell each other about the strong feelings they have for each other, and they do visit Kieran's place in London, and Megan immediately goes to the fridge and looks, and she says, all you have just sauces and beer in here. Condiments and beer. And that's it.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of sounds like the majority of the
A man's
average
fridge.
bachelor. Yeah.
And then he has gold golf balls, right?
I don't think they were gold, but he just had them on top of.
I thought they were gold.
Oh, maybe they were. I just saw the golf balls on top of the shot glasses, but they were just representing like the places of the courses that he's played at.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he's a golfer as well on top of his
Gaming
empire.
Yeah, so they see the great gaming setup too in his room.
Which then I thought like, oh, is he just is he just like a Twitch streamer, but they're calling it like a gaming entrepreneur or whatever? But then we kind of looked him up, and then he actually did have like a company and everything, so it was legit. But
Yes.
they just put so much attention around like the setup and the webcam and
Did you see
mic
if
and
he's on
everything.
Twitch too?
Yeah, I think he is.
Which
Like,
that
he
would make
does have
sense
a
to do
channel,
that in
but-
conjunction with his other thing.
Yeah, right, because they go in tandem. So
Yeah. So they meet Kieran's friends and they say, oh, Megan, what do you do? She says, I'm a dancer. They're all like, oh.
yeah, a lot of them kind of took like a awkward pause, but
Which at this point, why wouldn't she say like what type of dancing she does?
yeah,
don't
unless
know.
they're taking that quick, but it does. I feel like I would want to explain what type of, I do ballroom, or I'm a hip hop dancer, or I'm a Latin ballroom dancer or something. But regardless, but yeah. So they kind of have conversations with his friends. We don't really meet her friends, but we see his side of the friends, which actually, I guess I wonder why maybe his parents didn't want to be involved with this, because we haven't seen their either side of parents
Right.
have this. We've actually only seen his friends show up to this. So, but he takes his, I guess, the best friend out of the group, takes him to the side and really asks him how he feels about her and if he's kind of making the right choice, but he seems to have concerns.
He basically says, why does this have to end in marriage so quick? Like, I can't get over the shock of it all. This is happening too fast. I think he just really doesn't want Kieran to make a spur of the moment decision like this. Like, he'll come to their wedding, but he said it's going to take me a very long time to get over this shock factor.
Yeah, right. Which, yeah, I mean, that's pretty clear.
He says, to be exact, it'll take me another year or two to get over the shock factor.
Yeah, well, it almost feels like he's kind of trying to insinuate like you should take a year or two before you actually do
Right.
the marriage first, the 3 weeks or.
So there's some hesitation from his friends, and not because of who Megan is. It could be anybody. They would still have that same hesitation. So,
Yeah.
but they're going to support him on his big day.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just because it's just a lot of you just don't have a lot of I mean, sure, from their side of things, it's, oh, well, we kind of get put in this pressure cooker and we talk about all of these, topics that, regular relationships or, ones that happen naturally kind of happen over, the months or whatever. It's not like you have all these big serious questions in 2 hours. But I think there is just some of the aspect of knowing how the other person operates and like arguments, how you're going to handle those together, and just kind of go about doing things. Like they're just, I don't know, some of that stuff you just need time for.
And they haven't really had any arguments yet that we've seen.
No, they've been very. We thought there was, or it looked like there might have been something during the mixer. We'll get into that, but
Yeah.
But no, I mean, they really. I mean, I would kind of say they look like the strongest so far. They've kind of taken, I think, first place now out of the 5 of them.
Yeah, they just look happy to be together. So the last thing we'll end with here is that they go to Blackpool and dance together.
Yeah, this was ridiculous. I cannot believe that he got this.
Wait, explain Blackpool.
They got to go, to Blackpool Tower, which, for those not familiar with the ballroom world, that's where they usually hold the kind of the world championships for regular ballroom, like waltz and tango and foxtrot and etc. So
yeah, big grand place.
But yeah, it was just crazy to think that, because it was very special for her, right? Because she is a dancer and she has all this stuff and she's familiar with these. So to be able to practice their wedding dance in the towers, definitely a wild experience to have.
Yes. So let's move on to Sorover and Cal. Things are looking good for them. They go to Wigan and they eat a kebab together, and they meet his family, his mom and grandma, and they talk about the engagement, and they look happy for them. They say, Sorover, you're beautiful. And Sorover said it was lovely to meet them. And then Cal's brother shows up and he points out, Cal, she isn't your usual type here, because that's been the whole fight between them. Or not the fight, but the point of tension is Sorover's not his usual type. So his brother's there to poke it some more, and he was probably revved up by the producers to bring this up too. Again, like you said.
Right. I mean, this is their whole issue, is bringing this up constantly and addressing, this is just kind of their pain point. I mean, not even really, just more of a little nuance, and now they're just really trying to hammer it in.
Yep.
It feels like.
Yep. So he tells the producer he doesn't think this relationship will last. He's the only family member so far that doesn't believe in them.
Yeah, and I kind of felt like I believed him. I mean, it does. I mean, brother probably knows you pretty well, so just kind of what he said with the different points, and just not. I think, things get difficult. It becomes easy to just, look for something else, and a lot of the newness of it, once that kind of fizzles out, then it's going to be easy for him. So I think that's kind of where he was coming from, which I don't know. I kind of feel like I could totally see that with him. I mean, we'll have to see, but
there's some strange behaviors from him where.
Yeah, I don't feel like I really. I don't know. He's kind of like a mystery.
Yes,
still
I was about to
with
say that.
some things. I don't feel like I have him fully
understood or figured out.
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of feel like I would agree with his brother with that. And just kind of, I think for his brother to even admit that was, had to have been telling, I think. So.
Yeah. Maybe he's onto something there.
Yeah.
I think Sorover's very nice and a great person, and then Cal is just hard to figure out in some aspects. Like you said, the mysterious thing that I don't know if they'll line up right. Nothing to do with not dating his usual type, but I don't know. There's just something about his behavior that I can't really point out. That's strange sometimes, but the drama with Sorover's family, her mom has apparently been blowing up her phone with text messages saying she does not fully understand the Love is Blind experience, has a lot of doubts about the whole process, and is really stressing Sorover out. So then Cal says, I don't want to bend over backwards for your mom. And then he says he's pretty nervous about meeting her mother and sister, which we'll get into that after the mixer because that happens after. But he is a nervous wreck. He goes from like this confident, big and bad guy, like, yeah, I'm not bending over backwards for her. And then he goes and meets them, and then he's just like a puddle.
This was, I don't know. I mean, I do think some of it was like the editing in the beginning, because in the beginning he just seemed like he just totally shut down. Like,
which we'll go over that after the mixer, what happened with them, the meetup.
Yeah.
But what do you think about his big and bad attitude at the beginning? Like, your mom doesn't scare me and we just got to stick together. And I don't know, something about that really put me off. I didn't really like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think that was good, especially because, I don't know, unless they just totally get lost in the moment. But it's like, if, you know, I'd be appalled if to say those things and then they could watch this later.
Yeah,
And,
like her mom watches it back and she's like, oh my gosh, he didn't care what I thought.
right, to kind of see what he was really saying, you know, behind the scenes about things. I feel like that.
I think he could have phrased it a whole lot better. Like, let me go talk to her. I would love to go talk to her and get to know her a little bit. Maybe that would make her more comfortable with the process. I think it's okay to say, yes, like, you know, you and I are united and we will go forward with our decision no matter what. But the way he phrased it was just
Yeah, right.
off-putting.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into Javin and Katisha. So we start off, and neither one of them have told each other that they love each other yet. Cal brings up Demila and says, you know, Javin, she can flip on you in a second, just like she did with Demila. And Javin says, you know what, Cal, you've got a point. I'm going to bring that up to her. So then all the girls are bringing up Demila to Katisha as well at the beginning. And then Katisha's just overwhelmed and starts crying. And then Javin and Katisha connect about Demila finally. And they talk about all the people bringing it up to both of them. And Javin says there must be something off. He wouldn't have been walking around all confident if you didn't like give him that confidence to do so. And then she told him, you know, don't worry. And then Javin is worried the behavior might repeat itself with him. So what do you think about this whole thing?
I mean, I do agree. Yes, I think it very much, the way she handled. I mean, it's a tough situation, right? But I think you already told Demila that, you know, there was nothing to worry about, and then the next day you completely blindsided him with this new information. And I think it is alarming. You know, I would have been kind of, from Javin's point, I mean, especially kind of learning all this, that, I mean, you know, it very well could be, I don't know, you know, maybe, right, she does have a change of heart. I mean, she could tell me the night before the wedding or whatever, like, I'm ready, I'm in this, let's do it, and then show up at the altar and say, nope, I'm not here. So
I do think it's weird that she wasn't completely honest with Javin and how their meeting ended, or like how she told Demila, you're the one for me, because it seemed like he was missing that piece too. Like, I thought Katisha, just be completely honest with him with what happened and explain your feelings here. And she was kind of like giving him a little bit of what happened.
yeah, I don't think she fully came out with it, which I do think, yeah, there probably could have been a better, I think if she had done that, that may have helped Javin feel a little more comfortable with how things were held. Because at least right then, if there's nothing to hide at that point, then she's being more forthcoming with it.
And explained your mindset a little bit more. Because, yeah, it has validity to it, but like...
Well, and I thought she should have phrased it like this, because it did feel like in the pods that she was leaning towards Javin, but he just wasn't opening up. And then once he finally opened up, that's when she was willing to choose him over Demola. And she was only going to go with Demola because he was the one opening up. And since Javin was never opening up, he must have not really had feelings for her. But then, like, once he did that, she did. So I felt like she should have explained
That whole thing.
that first thing. It said, you were always the number one, and then, but you never opened up. So I didn't know if you actually, wanted a connection with me or to, take things further and go along with this. But then you finally did. And then that's what kind of made me flip. I feel like that would have been more reassuring if I heard something like that first. Just, oh, I told him no worries, and then I flipped my mind. Like,
it wasn't clear enough.
I feel like she just did a really poor job of explaining it, which then just created more doubt for him to.
Yes.
Especially as they're gonna keep, pounding into this topic and having all these other people talk about it, and
So then Javin is just really unsure, tells Jed, I am not 100% sure at this time. He tells Katisha, we really need to improve on things. And she says, I'm going to speak with Demola about this. And I didn't understand like why this big meeting needed to happen. But Javin says, yes, that's a really good idea that you speak with him. I guess to get more closure and more understanding behind everything. And then Javin waits for her to send the message in front of him to Demola asking him to meet up. It's like he was watching her to make sure she sent that.
well, that was. I don't know how this unfolded.
It was
That
just
was
so awkward.
That was such a weird. I don't know, because then they tried to make it like she was taking 10 years to write this message, but it was very like, you have to send it right this moment. Like, why couldn't you just send it after
Right.
the meal? Like, what is? I don't know. That was like very weird how that played out, but yeah, I mean, I at least getting talking to him because you kind of had this abrupt thing in the pods, right? Where here you could have met and had a little more explanation to things, and maybe had, or word it in his sake, where if you, do you feel like you've had closure on this, or do you want to know more to help you move on with this? Because if he was fine, then I don't think there's any point,
Right.
unless it was purely for her, just her wanting to do that. But if he's already fine with moving on, then I would think leave it at that point.
Well, they basically say some of the same things they already said in the pod when they first meet up. I think it's like a processing thing too, like meeting face to face. Okay, let's just explain a little bit more. So she meets up with him. And what'd you think about Demola's matching outfit that he had?
I don't know. I guess this is like some of a trend right now. I guess is the matching shirts with the shorts. I don't know. To me, it's kind of weird just having one pattern just on you, and
One pattern.
but yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's a very personal thing.
Choice.
So yeah,
So he says she looks beautiful. He says he was just shocked and blindsided because he wrote a proposal for her. And she said she really was unsure until the end. And she said she felt the connection that she had with Javin was stronger, and he understands that. And he asks her if she is happy, and she says yes. And he says, well, then I will be the biggest cheerleader for you then. And then he makes a comment, good guys finish last, though. And she's like, oh, don't say that. It was kind of sad.
yeah. But I mean, that's a valid point. But
And then he says, at your wedding, whoever catches the bouquet, will you please send her my way?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, he was very nice during this whole exchange. But then it was when they hugged at the end. They really zoomed in on him, which I don't know. I guess,
He looked like so into that hug.
but it almost looked. I mean, right? Only he knows how he felt, but from what it looked pretty, almost like painful for him to do that. Because I think he just really was invested in her. And
Yeah, I think
she
he still
backed out,
cares
and-
a
yeah,
lot about
so-
her. And he was really checking in. Are you happy? Are you sure you're happy?
But that
Because if not, you could be with me.
Well, no, I don't think that, but I mean, but he just, yeah, I mean, I think he just came. I mean, the big thing is I think he very much puts other people's feelings above his own. I mean, during that whole exchange, it was all about her and how she's feeling versus how he was. When Javin got matched with her, it was all about celebrating Javin over him. So I think he very is a selfless person, which is
Yeah.
a great quality. But
Nice guy who
Yeah.
finished last.
yeah,
No, but I'm sure his happy ending will be coming soon because he deserves it. So Javin then is very proud that she had that meeting and now they can close that worry and doubt that he had. So then they go get their nails done together. And it was Javin's idea.
yeah, this was just weird.
You're like, what? What? They're at the nail salon and he brought this up?
Yeah, but strange.
So they go to Javin's apartment and then they have a little argument. She wants to line up their dinners so they can eat together, which sounds reasonable. And he works late. And then he says, well, how frequently do you want to eat together? And she's like, well, at least like 2 to 3 times a week. And he says, well, I work from 6 to 9. And she says, okay, I can wait until later. Like she was willing to wait until after 9 to have her dinner. And then he says, oh yeah, well, I'm asleep by 10. There's like no flexibility.
Well, she also said, well, that's fine. I eat dinner late around like 9 or 10. I don't know. This,
I don't think she eats at 9 or 10. Maybe she eats at like 8 and she was stretching it or something.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would probably believe that. I think, well, after hearing this exchange, this was like, oh, there's no way they make it. Because this just felt, Javin just seems by this point totally checked out. I think the whole issue with Demo just really turned him off to everything.
He says they could close
here-
this chapter, but it's not closed because he can't move on from it.
Yeah, well, because this was just she was doing everything to try to make the dinner thing happen, and he was just not having it at all. Which to me just screamed, you clearly have no interest in this person.
Right.
I mean, why would you be wanting to avoid them so bad to not have dinner with them?
Even like a couple times a week.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, this was just like...
And after 9. So when does he eat? During work? I guess.
Yeah. Or I don't know, he just expects like this quick, I don't know, microwaved meal you eat in
I go to
5
bed at
minutes.
10.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't
That
know,
was terrible.
This really just showed that he has no interest at all in the whole thing.
Right.
So this, to me, was like, this was it. I was like, all right, they're done.
They're done.
This just can't.
Yeah. So she then meets his mom and sister, and she is the first girlfriend person to meet his mom and sister. And girlfriend person. They meet Panther, his cat. And his mom is laughing and smiling, and his sister looks really mad at the table. And I think his sister was mad here because she's like, how dare you guys get married? I've been planning my own wedding for the past like 18 months.
Yeah, this was like almost...
And you've been planning it for a few weeks.
Yeah, this was almost like, I'm supposed to be in the spotlight right now, and now all of a sudden you've like hijacked the spotlight.
My brother can't get married before me.
Yeah.
But I think it's also like, how could you guys do this when I've probably been together with my person for years and we took a year and a half to plan everything?
That, yeah, but I guess too, she doesn't realize, well, I'm imagining the producers are probably doing so much of the wedding planning, right? Like they probably spritzel in.
Yeah, there's no way that's their main focus at all.
Like they've picked the venue, they've picked everything, they just kind of pick probably like what food do they want, what kind of decorations do they want, etc. Like they're not nearly as involved as in a process as like, two people who, who would have to do it all themselves.
Right.
I think the producers have a lot of say in how that gets. So I think it's probably a lot easier to, create a wedding in that for them.
Well, his sister's not really thinking that way, but
Yeah.
basically, I think she's saying you guys are just rushing into this and making like a mockery of this whole thing because this is so fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then his sister spends some time with Katisha and she tells her that Javin is very hard to read sometimes. Like he'll smile no matter what. And we've seen this too. Like when he's angry or mad, he puts on a smile sometimes. He's really trying to stuff down and hide some of his feelings when he's not comfortable.
Yeah, he was very kind of difficult to read the whole time because it was just no matter what situation was happening, he just responded to the same way through any of them. So yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like you really never had a good grasp of what he was thinking or feeling.
So Katisha says she can tell his walls aren't fully down and got a lot of good insight from his sister. And that's where we will leave off with them until after the mixer. And now let's go on to Jed and Bardha. We see that Jed is dominant, and Bardha said that will take some getting used to as she's very independent herself. And then they make a dish called pita. She's giving him direction on how to cook it. So we see a lot of like, I think Jed is kind of bending his mindset some to let her take charge in some things instead of what he had in mind, too.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of felt like a lot of these, which I think that's probably just kind of a standard thing that every relationship that goes, from dating into a marriage is just the kind of the compromising on things. But because all of them, I feel like had that thing to learn about or
Right.
have to kind of learn to adjust to.
Well, something cool about them is the Albanian and Lebanese cultures are alike in a lot of ways. So they enjoy some of the same type of meals together and traditions and things like that, too. She does say that the women in her family typically cook and clean, and she doesn't want to be dependent on anything like that. And then she opens up about her mom being diagnosed with breast cancer, but she is clear of cancer now after her second surgery, and she's still here. And then he meets her parents, and they welcome him and ask how many grandchildren would he like to have. And then her mom says, "Would you like to have 6?"
Yeah, her parents were very, I mean, I guess because maybe they didn't speak a whole lot of English, but
They were so nice. She was translating,
yeah,
so
I feel like they've been the easiest going parents probably that I've witnessed
yeah.
out of any of the seasons so far. Just because they seem totally like no worries at all with
Just very happy.
everything. Yeah.
Like very nice and fun. And Jed asks her father for his blessing, and he gets very happy and emotional and says yes.
Yeah, I
Which was
mean,
nice.
things were very the easiest going with. That was definitely probably the easiest interaction ever
Yes.
with a parent conversation.
And Jed's the only person to ask a father's blessing that we saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could have been, who knows if Billy even chimed up at all.
I thought he had said something. But
Billy?
yeah. But maybe not.
I don't know. Now you're having me second guess it. I thought it was nice that Jed asked for the blessing from her father.
Yeah, no, that was a very nice touch.
But then next, Jed meets her friend, and she's very protective of her. And she said that she has heard this before, that things are great with her ex-boyfriends, and then it all goes downhill. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't really had anything major yet.
Her friend also says it's kind of a red flag that you guys haven't had an argument yet.
Right, which I agree. Well, I don't know if I really call it a red flag, but I do think you need to have kind of a serious disagreement first to at least see how the two of you are gonna, handle it.
And that comes with time, so there probably hasn't been enough time elapsed for the two. Maybe they're just more easygoing and it takes more time for them to have an argument.
Yeah, because that is one thing too, right? If you're more easygoing, then you're not gonna get so bothered about little things, and then you're willing to push them aside until it's something more serious that you're gonna, take a stand against.
Right.
But yeah, and I think probably being more easygoing people, it is gonna take more time because you're gonna have to, you're still kind of in that honeymoon phase as well, so you're going to be a little more, willing to forego maybe some things that you were, like insistent about or something, because I don't really want to upset the other person yet. So,
Yeah, that's true.
but yeah, we haven't seen it, but hopefully I think they should at least have something happen before the
They
wedding.
should just like
because-
stage a fight just to have one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that, but I at least need something because I don't know how you would go into a marriage and not have disagreement.
Well, that's what they're doing. Let's go into the mixer where we see everyone in the group meet up, the pod squad. Are you excited to talk about this?
Yeah, this is what I feel like I'm gonna start coining as like the the relationship destroyer.
Yes, they're like testing out all the couples to see if they can stand strong when they meet their exes from the pods.
And it's generally, I was actually surprised because they brought in there was like at least the one guy, like Daniel, I think. But some of like there's a pod squad who never even had a talking head or even had like an introduction.
Well,
or
Yolanda
anything.
wasn't a big part either, but then she was in this.
Yeah, I mean, she somehow became kind of a.
I mean, I
big
think they
thing.
bring everybody back and then they focus on like a few people who are, I mean, I'm sure they're desperate to get their time in the sun here. So they're like fighting to be a big part of this mixer.
Yeah.
So let's go over some things that happened here. Javin tells Kieran that he is not in love with Katisha, but can see his life with her and doesn't know how to get married.
Yeah, and he was telling Kieran where, can you marry someone but not love them yet? Like I see
Right.
my life with them, but I don't love them yet to get married.
And then
Kieran was like, no, I don't see that.
Katisha comes up and she says, "Oh, well, it's not a hard decision for me." Like she's on like a completely different page.
Yeah, that was like a really, because it was like, oh, what are you talking? And then kind of skirting around what they were talking about. But yeah, I mean, she's, no regrets or just, not having really doubts about anything. But
Right.
Javin is already, as we know, like checked out from this.
He is totally checked out, and we'll talk more about him. But first, we see Billy meeting Patrick, and Billy says, "I had a feeling in my spleen I would see you today, Patrick."
Yeah.
That was funny.
This was like, I don't even, I couldn't tell if they were trying to be more like poking fun of him or if it was just like a joke with them.
I think it's
but-
just like a joke. Like, I think Patrick finds it funny too. Like, oh, you have a feeling in your spleen?
Yeah, I feel like it's almost, they're like half joking, but also kind of like half serious, like poking fun.
Because it's like so foreign to everybody that they're just like, that's how they deal with this information.
That, and it kept getting brought up like a lot. Like, because even, like during the argument with them, like it was like, oh, his spleen's
No,
really
no, no.
active.
Yes,
now,
well,
but- I mean, yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but I'm just, like, there was just so many, they kept bringing it up, right? Like if it was like the joke.
Because it's insane.
But
That's why
what I'm-
they're
That's
bringing
why
it
they're
up.
poking, like it's more of like
Because
a
it's
poking
hard
fun
to
of.
it's hard to have a serious
than laugh.
conversation about something that has like no merit to it. But yeah,
Right, but that's why I think it's more of almost poking fun of
Right,
versus,
right.
versus like a
well, he
laughing with
believes
you.
it's a spleen. Let him believe it and have fun. But
Yeah.
it's still very weird. So Patrick is, introing himself to everybody, and then Anu comes in, and then Anu goes to him to meet him and shake hands, and she says, "Oh, like, what's your name?" And he says, "Patrick," and she goes, "Oh," and then like turns around.
Yeah, this was like, I don't know, this was a little cold, I thought. To not
Anu
even
acted totally childish in this whole thing. Yes, she's very upset, and that's why she reacted this way at the mixer, but it was not professional.
I guess it was because, she was going into that last date, I guess, and expecting the proposal. And since he kind of shut it down, I think she was very hurt by that. I guess because watching it almost felt like, how are you even going to go into a proposal? Like, you guys are really starting to kind of diverge here on your commonalities on things.
Right.
And I guess to me it is, how would you even expect a proposal at this point? But I guess she was expecting that, and she was very hurt by that. So that's why
Very
she's
hurt.
very turned off to seeing him. But then she didn't even like recognize his voice either, which I kind of thought was, because she like ask who it is.
Well,
like,
he barely said anything.
yeah, I guess that's true.
So Anu is talking to the girls, and she does say she was very hurt by not getting a proposal, and then says, yeah, he like likes to think with his sphincter muscle or something like that. And they're like, no, it's spleen. It's spleen. But she totally said this on purpose. She knows.
Well, this is, I think this is almost like another producer moment where it's like, make fun of the spleen moment,
Yeah.
like call it crazy things and
Yeah,
constantly bring it up. And this was just like another, because it was just such a wild, I mean, I'm sure the producers loved this.
I mean, it was
like
very funny to watch Anu go on about this. And then, they have to have them together to talk. So Anu and Javin meet up.
Patrick.
Or sorry, yes, I'm talking about Javin so much because
Yeah.
he is intertwined in all of this stuff, which
Yeah.
let's talk about him later.
He was
So
the star of this whole series.
yes,
For these 4 episodes.
yes, and especially at the mixer because I'm just getting so caught up because I'm remembering all the things because Anu and Javin have an interaction too. So, but anyway, Anu calls Patrick out while they're sitting together, and then she says, you're a liar, you're a liar, and then she goes, you're a liar. She starts singing it, and then he says, well, it is actually nice to hear your singing voice. Thanks for singing to me, even though she's singing that he's a big liar.
Yeah.
It was funny.
He
But
could
it
have
was
had the
pretty
nice
cool.
words that she came up with, but instead it's
You're a liar.
him being called a liar.
And she acts crazy. And she says, your outfit looks horrible. I don't know why you chose to wear that thing on your head. And
Yeah, this was just
just so childish.
just way too much
ridiculous.
attacking. Like, I mean, yes, I get like your heartbreak, but
And Patrick says nothing to her. He's just nothing but kind.
well, I
to her,
appreciate,
which I appreciated that a lot.
because he was definitely smart enough to know that yeah, she's upset. She's kind of just acting on emotion here.
Let me just
she's just
Let her
gonna,
do this and move on.
Yeah, she just like needs to
Air it out.
yell at somebody and let all this out, and then yeah, I think he handled it. I mean, he knew he was gonna get chewed out probably coming into this, but yeah, he handled it very well,
And she
moved on.
doesn't. And she says, good luck with your rectum, and leaves,
Yeah,
AKA his spleen.
right.
And she's still calling it different names.
Yeah,
And he says, I was just being true to myself. And that's all I could do. And I think he says something like, not to her, but at the end, like, if she's going to act like this, I probably wouldn't have wanted to be with her anyway. Like, I'm seeing her true colors here.
right. Because if there was some disagreement, then it seems like she could have fallen into this kind of similar reaction, and yeah, that wouldn't be great. So no, I think he's kind of a little crazy with that whole thing, but no, I think he's mature enough to be able to handle things properly.
Yeah,
or understand like relationships, and
I like the way that he handled that whole situation. He just took it all and was just like, okay, well, I wish you well.
yeah.
And then news, you're a liar, you're a liar. Your outfit's terrible. You don't match.
Yeah,
What's
like,
with the thing
this-
on your head?
this was
It's
just-
like
I don't-
unrelated, ridiculous nonsense.
Yeah, that was just way over the.
And good luck
Over
with
the
your
top.
rectum.
Yes, yeah. I don't know. Very weird.
Why did she choose that to say?
Because I think it's just whatever's the most
Outrageous
insulting
thing.
thing.
Yeah,
to try
insulting
to
thing. Yeah.
say, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about Javin a little bit more at this mixer. So Javin and Demila connect. And now Javin is really thinking things over after talking to Demila. And Javin says he wishes him and Anu talked more after seeing what Anu looks like. So he's already making a comment about another woman here. And then Yolanda from the pods, who we didn't see much of until now, asked Javin if he's ready for marriage, and he doesn't answer.
Yeah, and this is where they kind of really kept going on with this, and I feel like multiple people asked him, like, how do you feel about Katisha? Is she the one? And he just was constantly saying, no, not really sure yet. It's definitely, not a yes going into a marriage so far. And then they start bringing in, all these other Pod Squad people, and he kind of expresses like, oh, well, they're attractive, and yeah, I would go talk to them at a bar or something. And all of this clearly just has no, no commitment to Katisa whatsoever. I mean, it's just total. He's just treating this as a single person at this point.
So the next drama comes in with Sophie coming in, and she wore the shortest, tightest dress she could find to bust into this place and make an impression. She mentions it's so tight she can barely sit down.
This whole thing was just, I don't know, had no.
It just screams like, I want this attention from everybody. And
yeah, it was just desperation. It was, and I think it was too of this really wanting to try to show Kieran like, oh, like you really, missed out, and really wanted to just come in and ruin somebody's relationship.
Yeah, it was bizarre. And so let's first talk about Javin and Sophie. So Sophie makes a comment saying Javin looks good, and she can't see him and Katisha as a couple. And then they meet one-on-one with each other, and she is just trying to draw his attention and says, I can't sit down in this dress. He goes, well, why not? And she goes, you might see something. And then he says, no comment. I don't know. It's just very weird interaction. Like he was almost feeding into these weird comments from her.
Well, this whole conversation dragged out way too long. It's very long. It's all this.
It's like flirty weirdness. Like,
yeah. And then there's like scenes where they're, laughing hysterically or something. And I don't know, a lot of it, he's not even like talking. Cause I remember it just felt like
smiling.
Sophie was
laughing.
just like a broken record. I mean,
yeah.
She kept saying, well, what are you thinking? What are you looking at? What are you talking about? Like,
right.
all this. And he kept saying nothing. Like, I don't know. The whole interaction was just very, very bizarre.
Very bizarre. And Javin does tell her, though, that his relationship is not 100% at this time. And they both smile back and forth on this. And then he says, are you dating now? And she says no. And then they talk about how they did connect in the pods and they have something. There's a lot of smiling. And then he says, there's still more to unpack here. He says, where do you live? And she's like, I live 5 minutes away, actually. So.
Yeah, this whole thing was just
weird. So that's the Sophie Javin interaction, which we'll see how that affected Katisha a little bit later. But let's talk about Kieran and Sophie. So there was this whole big thing like, oh no, Kieran's going to see Sophie and they're going to have this giant interaction. What's going to happen? So.
And this felt, kind of the producers wanted to create something here because it was a lot of, I feel like, asking Kieran, like, what do you think about her? Are you attracted to her? Is there all this stuff and whatnot? And because I felt like it was, you had the one guy he was with ask him, and then, Javin and Patrick and I think some other people came over, and then they were asking him. Like, it was just this constant badgering of him asking like the same question.
And so he says, yes, she's attractive.
Yeah. So it's just this constant of trying to like create something out of it. But
and Meg doesn't
Kieran
seem
really
worried
wasn't
about this either.
Yeah.
And Kieran wasn't really considering Sophie. So they talk, and he did apologize to her for the gift situation, realizes how that could have been insensitive to give Megan a gift and then still be talking with her. And he does tell her, I'm very happy with Meg. I want to wish you the best. And I don't know, there is this weird interaction between Meg and Kieran when he comes back after the conversation with Sophie, and Meg makes a comment like, Sophie is a little two-sided and, be careful of the interactions with her. And he says, I'm not really seeing that part of Sophie. And Meg's like, oh, you don't believe me on this?
Yeah. And I think probably going back, I think maybe see some of that because I think it was, during the talking, I thought he brought up to Megan like, hey, I should probably have a conversation with Sophie just to, you know, make sure she has closure or that, this whole thing is just, or, that just this whole thing is over with. And then after the conversation, Sophie was talking to someone else saying, oh, well, that was just more for him getting closure.
Right.
Like, it seems like she didn't even care. She was done with it.
She's done.
Or she just wanted it to become this thing of like, oh, I'm, for him to pursue her and then create this drama out of it. But he didn't have that whatsoever, purely just wanted to, end there, put everything to bed with that and then move on.
Right.
And then she was just very salty about that. So,
yep.
So I think going back, he'll probably see maybe more of that two side because I think she was very with
she
him
put
the
on
whole
a show
time.
for him.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, he does need to just automatically believe Meg when she's telling him this too. I feel like they tried to enhance that into a fight, but Meg was trying to tell him and he's like, oh, I just haven't seen that side of her. But you should say like, I haven't seen that side of her. Maybe she's playing me, but I totally believe you. Or something maybe more supportive to Meg, but
Yeah.
or maybe they cut that part out. Who knows? So
I would have thought maybe especially, or maybe he didn't see them much to make sure, or like, when Javin and Sophie were having such a long discussion, if he ever saw them talking, like, oh, maybe she is a little more being kind of two-sided with things.
right.
But, or even especially, what happened with the later thing.
So back at home, the mixer's over and Katisha goes over to Javin and says, so how was your conversation with Sophie? And he says, it was interesting. He's just acting like a weirdo about this.
Yeah, I think because there was just so much flirting going on, he couldn't say anything else.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
And he says, my conversation with her was interesting. My conversation with Demolo was interesting. And she says, well, I'm going to go to bed. And then he says, oh, yeah, well, I'm going out. And he leaves her alone. And then she's left alone to cry while he goes out to Party Town, which this is just absolutely ridiculous on his part.
When this happened, I didn't see you told me about the but like the whole drama with like Jeremy and the whatever.
Total
that was
replay.
Season 6
Laura
or
and
5 or
Jeremy.
something. Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, oh, once he said like he was going out, I was like, this is totally gonna be a repeat of that because you just know he's
Jeremy went out to find the woman
probably
from the
Sophie,
pods.
like he's got to go talk to Sophie.
I mean,
for
all
sure.
that was on his mind was, how can I get with Sophie? How can I see Sophie again? And he knew that Sophie was going to be at this bar. So he's like, oh, you're going to sleep? Okay. He's like trying to figure out, how can I play this off? Oh, you're tired? Well, I'm just going to go out, hang with the boys. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So off he goes and she's alone crying.
Yeah.
So the next morning he tells Katisha, yeah, everybody from the mixer was there. And she says, I was pretty upset that you went out the night before meeting my parents today. And it's such an important meeting. And he says, well, you have nothing to fear. Everything will be great. And like just ignores everything bad.
Yeah. Well, so we see that a lot of the people from the mixer end up continuing hanging out and they go to some other place. Yeah, so a lot of the people who didn't match go out, and then Kieran and Megan are the only couple that went out to this place afterward, but then Javin goes, and which then you have to think.
And it's like Yolanda, Anu, Sophie, the single people.
Right.
So Katisha decides to give him the benefit of the doubt for now. So we then cut to a scene where Meg is talking to Kieran about Javin's behavior the night before because she just witnessed him coming alone without Katisha, which first was just like, why did you come to this then if you're in a couple relationship? And then she said he was cozy with the Pod Squad girls and he went into the photo booth with Sophie at one point, just like odd behavior, hanging around the single women and hanging on to Sophie and going into private places with Sophie. And Meg tells Kieran that she really thinks Katisha ought to know about this, and he agrees.
And this is my whole thing. Like, if you went out and you saw these people and you saw Kieran and Megan there, like, what is the whole point of, being out in kind of the whole flirtatiousness that Megan comes out with? Because they're there. They're going to probably go tell Katisha, or even one of the other girls, right? Because they would know if they're out here, they can sit here and ruin your relationship, and then I don't know.
I don't think he's thinking clearly, I guess, because he should have never done this, but especially like having the witness of like other people.
Yeah, I mean, first you should have seen that Katisha was clearly upset, and
He didn't care at all. Didn't care because he had to get his chance with Sophie. That's all he cared about.
didn't even ask if she was upset or anything, and just went out. And then second, I mean, you shouldn't have even know that. But then to even like entertain, talking to them so much like you did, why would you have not just hung out with the guys at that point? I don't know,
Right.
because there's going to be people who are going to go report. I mean, obviously you shouldn't be doing this to begin with, but I mean, if you think you're going to get away with it, you've got someone who's just going to tell Katisha everything that happens anyway. So
Right.
it's just like crazy to me to think
It's
that,
stupidity.
yeah,
But
like,
he was so
still
desperate.
went through with this.
I think
yeah.
he's just so desperate to see her again and get with her, and the possibility of doing that completely overrode anything common sense.
Well,
in
I
his
think
head.
it's that, and I guess that he really doesn't care much for Katisha. Like, he's already checked out at this point, and he would much rather try to.
But why is he going through the motions of like meeting her family, which is really unfortunate? So all of this happens. He still meets her family. And then Meg gets with Katisha and tells her everything. Meg tells her that he went straight up to Sophie right away as soon as he got there, no hesitation, and about the photo booth thing. And after that, he moved on and talked to Anu. And after that, he talked to Yolanda, and she said, everybody saw him. Everybody saw this. And he said, they all make me happy. Anu makes me happy. Yolanda makes me happy. Sophie makes me happy. And Katisha makes me happy. And she was just thrown off. She's like, what? He did that? I can't believe it. And she starts packing her stuff. And then he walks in and he starts defending himself like crazy. And she says, well, Meg told me the truth that you were hanging around them all night. And he gets very defensive. He says, I didn't hang around them all night. I hung around them some, not all night. This argument is just ridiculous. The all night versus not all night. He's like, you could ask. I was talking with the men at some point.
Well, that, and he was like, I was only at the place for 3 hours. That's not all night.
Yeah, let's count the hours. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just ridiculous. And he denies the comment about all the women making him happy too when she approaches him with that. And then Katisha is very torn right now, doesn't know what to do.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just very. I mean, right, when you're looking at this and picking, I mean, right, I mean, what does Megan really have to gain by kind of lying in this situation? I mean,
Yeah, nothing.
why does she care if they would break up or not? I mean,
He just sounds totally guilty too with this, how he responded to the questions too.
yeah.
So,
I mean, I guess because he's almost, I mean, everything that he kind of responds to has just been these really vague things, right? Like he was like, oh, we just, he mentioned, I think, like, right, like we talked a little bit or something, but.
yeah, and then this whole, I got into an argument with Sophie in the photo booth. Why are you getting into an argument with another woman?
Oh, this.
Like, what are you even talking about to even get deep enough to get into an argument?
Yeah, this was hilarious, I thought, because it was like, no, we were arguing, and then she walked into a photo booth, so then I sat down to continue the argument.
What
Like-
argument? My first question would have been like, what the heck could you guys have even been arguing? That's like an intimate thing to do with each other. It's very weird.
I don't know. I thought that was just, I don't know, because I guess
And you're
just
following
picturing
a
it-
girl into a photo booth to have a happy argument together. Like the whole thing is
I just picture like them fighting, and then she just randomly walks into like a photo booth, and she's still like yelling or something. So then he like walks inside to continue. I don't know. The whole thing was just a very bizarre explanation
very weird.
of that.
Like as if that made him look innocent. Oh, we were just arguing. I
Yeah.
decided to continue it. What are you talking about? So then Katisha decides to leave and leaves him a note along with her ring. And the note is basically breaking up with him, saying, this is not going to work. And Katisha's already been damaged from previous relationships where things like this have happened, and she's very disappointed and upset about the whole thing. And then Javin rips up the letter and he says, you know, Megan was lying here. I need to talk to her and get to the truth. And we're going to expose the truth right here, right now. But then it cuts to a quick scene of Javin and Patrick talking together. And Patrick's like defending Javin, which I don't know how much merit Patrick has on this. Or maybe he said, hey, man, can you just say I was just hanging out with the guys, or like texted him to just do that to make it look good for me? I bet it was something like that. I don't know. Because that was strange.
Yeah, I don't know where or like what was the reasoning to show the call between the two of them with this.
Yeah. And then Javin meets with Meg and Kieran, and Meg defended what she saw. She says, this is everything I saw. And then Kieran defends Meg too, and he says, I saw the same thing, Javin. And then he debates the all night versus portions of the night thing, which is a ridiculous argument. And Meg said, I only told you what I saw. That was it. And I only told her what I saw. And then they get into a crazy fight. Talk about the curtain curtain argument about the photo booth and it having a curtain versus not having a curtain.
Yeah, well, they discuss. Javin said there was no curtain on it, but
Kieran says
Megan
there was no, it's
Kieran.
Kieran. It was at this point just Kieran, and he's like, there was a curtain, mate. And he's like, there wasn't a curtain. There was a curtain.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That seems crazy that you're having an argument about whether that was there or not. But I don't know, this whole thing just was kind of.
And then Javin starts getting really angry and crazy, debating crazy, nonsensical things with Meg. And then she just gets so overwhelmed and upset. She just says, I have to remove myself from the situation. And she walks away.
Yeah, because it was just, both sides. I mean, at least she saw this, but both sides, I mean, nobody was budging and they weren't getting right. They were just spinning in circles around the same argument.
And of course, like, he doesn't want to let down on anything because he's trying to prove his innocence. Which is ridiculous.
Well, and it becomes too, right, that there's worried probably about his image and how people are going to look back and watch this and then turn him as the villain in this whole thing. So he's trying to think anything to not allow that to happen. But
he just looks like crazy. Like he was just on fire. And then she's like, peace out. See you never, Javin. Goodbye.
I would be I think what would be interesting, they should have, the producers should have then tried to reach out to, any of them who went there, like Yolanda or Anu or Sophie or any of the other people, Demila or just any of them, ask them,
they should have interviewed
what
all
happened?
of them.
Yeah, what happened last night or something to kind of.
They never do that stuff, though. They don't do, the talking heads of the other people.
Yeah, I guess you've never heard. I don't know. Leave it up.
But that would be an interesting add-in thing that they could do is okay, and now a little special feature of everybody's take of what actually happened.
Yeah, right. To kind of see, what majority kind of plays out.
I feel like Demila would give a straight answer.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, if you did Sophie, I bet she would totally turn in oh yeah, he was totally.
He was all over me.
He was totally, He's
like, I've got to see that dress, which is one scrap of paper on Sophie.
Yeah, I mean, she would probably be biased, but yeah, I think Demila would definitely, or Patrick give back. He'd probably give an interesting take, but
it's my spleen wants to say I didn't see them in the photo booth. How can he be right with a spleen and then lie on the FaceTime call? What does a spleen think about that behavior? Unless Patrick was only there for a portion of the night.
I can't remember if they said he was. I only specifically remember the girls because I guess that was the big focus. But I do remember they saying Demila was there.
Right,
but I guess I figured Patrick probably would have had to tag along.
Okay, so let's go over a little bit of the other couples now and how this ends. So the meeting with Sorover's mom, and sister with Cal. Cal just completely turned into like a nervous wreck. He was all big and bad and confident, and then he got sitting down in that restaurant, and Sorover's mom says, "Hey, tell me a little bit about why you love my daughter. Like, what is it about her that makes you so in love?" And that would be kind of like a simple question, right, for someone who's engaged, about to be married. And he just totally freezes. He's like, "Well, we both like to work out."
Yeah, there were. I forget now. There was somebody else too who asked this. What what qualities led you to, my daughter or son? And just someone said, "Oh, we just connected really well or something." And they just
Like
gave no
vague.
specifics. Yeah, and then like here he did that right. She
He
was
said,
asking for specifics. He just gave these blank, vague things.
"I like her accent, and we both like fitness." And then it was like crickets.
Yeah, and then she tried to press him more, and then he had no idea. I don't know. The beginning of this,
It was almost awkward to even watch. I was like cringing watching it. It's like, this is too much. It's too much awkward.
yeah, especially because he kind of had all this big talk before, leading up to this dinner, and then it happens, and then he just kind of clammed up like crazy. Now they, the first part of the edit, it shows that, and then it kind of, I don't. It seems like it gets a little bit better, I guess. I don't know. To me, it kind of really didn't feel like it got that much better, but I don't know. The whole thing just kind of felt like a train wreck to me.
Yeah, but then luckily Sorover starts talking, and she tells her mom, "You need to trust in me. I've made this decision for myself. I'm confident in my decision. I want you to be on board. You've learned a little bit more about the process now, and just trust me on this." And then her mom is more understanding to Sorover, responds in a really nice way, and then that makes Cal feel a little bit more comfortable, and he recovers from his nervous spell.
Yeah, and at least from like the editing point, it kind of looks like it clears up. And then, towards the end, the mom was like, "Oh, well, you've actually really impressed me," or whatever. But I don't know. I didn't feel like he really did a
I know.
great job
So
of.
a lot of that must have been like cut out or something.
Yeah, there must have been something because I really just don't see how it lined up. Because in the beginning, it looked like she was like, "Wow, this guy's kind of
Odd.
lame or just not doing a great job of."
But she seemed to really be impressed and enjoyed his presence.
Yeah,
So she totally flipped.
yeah. I don't know. I did not expect her to say that. I was quite shocked when she
Something
said
must
that.
have happened off
Yeah.
camera. But the thing that impressed Cal was Sorover sticking up for them and their relationship with such vigor. So he felt that brought them closer together.
Yeah. Yeah, so they've made it out of the parents now, and
Things seem good right now.
yeah. And they're kind of in that boat as well, I think, where they haven't really had a really big disagreement yet either, so
Yeah.
we're kind of waiting for that to happen.
Will it happen on their wedding day? Hope not. So let's cut over to Barta and Jed. They meet Jed's parents, and which was really kind of funny because the dynamic between Jed's mother and father, they talk about them being married for a really long time, and then they zoom into his father, and he goes, "Yeah, it's a life sentence." Like he's chained to his wife.
Now, when you can start making jokes like that, you've made it. That's a great point when you can start cracking jokes like
I just
that.
love that he was not too verbal until that part.
Yeah. Well, because I think they said 34 years, and then he like almost forgot himself. It had been that long.
He's like, "Wow." And it's been a life sentence. Because I think the mom at first is just concerned with how short of a time it's been. That's the main concern.
Yeah, the father really didn't have many concerns. The mother was more.
He says, "Just accept your life sentence, son."
Yeah, the mother was the one that kind of had more concerns and questions about things. And then she asked too about the whole disagreement if they've had a major disagreement yet, which they haven't. So that was kind of one of her concerns, which I think is a very valid one.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't fully know the person until you have that disagreement. So
Yeah.
huge concern. How are you going to handle it? Hopefully you'll handle it well and things will continue on, but you don't want that to be the breakdown of your marriage if you do get married and you haven't had that experience yet.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And let's end here with Billy and Ashley. So they're hanging out, and then Billy tells Ashley he's 50-50 now about how he's going to go from here, whether or not he's going to get married to her. And she is just crushed by this.
This whole scene just felt very weird, and I don't know. I felt like it just kind of came out of nowhere. But I don't know. It is just showing. I feel like since they've met, Billy's just been falling off a cliff as far as like, on abandoning this. Like it's just kind of been going downhill ever since
it's getting worse
they
and worse
got
and
out
worse.
of the
Yeah.
pods. Because there's, which there really, I don't get it. There really hasn't been anything. I mean, the food thing, but that's not like, I don't know. That's not like a serious.
That's minors. I think this whole thing is based around her job. And he just is so worked up about it in his head.
Yeah, I almost think he's talking himself out of it. And he's making it more of a situation. And maybe just, I guess, because of the past experiences, that's making him kind of do that maybe. But he seems like he's very in his head about this versus what's actually been happening.
Which is really unfair to Ashley because she
Yeah.
tells him, I'm 100% in this. I'm a yes. So to hear that you're 50-50 is like devastating to me. And we already talked about the job thing so much. What more can we say about this? And
it almost starts to feel like, is he in this almost like of the Javin stage where, when they talked about dinner and then he was making every excuse to not have dinner together, but like he's just starting to make excuses that they shouldn't be together or something. Like it almost feels like he's just checked out, but he's needs a way to
end it.
Right, without being the villain.
Right. You're onto something. Maybe he just doesn't like her as much as what he thought.
Yeah, like I do think they kind of had a connection, but it's starting to already fizzle out.
Yep.
I think that may be more. Because it doesn't really... I think if he really had feelings for her, I don't think that he would be having these issues.
I think so too. If your feelings were so strong and you already talked about being able to work it out, then okay, we talked about it. We had that conversation. I really love and care for you. We're going to make this work.
I think he just almost wants someone that's just going to like mesh right into his regiment and there's going to be no compromise and just
no sweets
nothing.
And no air travel.
But just his whole daily routine, like I don't think he wants it modified whatsoever. He wants the person to just come strict. In and follow it exactly.
Follow all these rules, and that's the only person I'm going to marry.
Right. Yes. And she's not greatly doing that, or as much as he wants her to. So
she's not 100% perfect on his checklist, which is really sad and unfortunate. I hope they don't end up getting together because I think she needs to find somebody who's a little bit more flexible. Yeah,
because I think if you're having these doubts at this point, it's probably just going to get worse and worse. Unless she actually got the job. But I think he almost needs to see like that happen now. I don't think he's willing to compromise or wait, 6 months or however long it would take.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like she probably would need to start looking for a new job now for him to start taking it seriously.
Yeah. And that's the end of what has happened in these past 4 episodes. And next time we will be reviewing episode 9, which will be released, which shows us some conclusions before wedding day. And I think we get to see one wedding play out or almost play out.
Yeah, so we've seen Javin and Katisha now.
Goodbye.
They're our first relationship on the chopping block.
Which made sense because we never saw them at the altar in the previews.
Right. Well, and you saw they've shown every
Everybody
other
else.
couple
Yeah.
at the altar. So
Yep.
that was even a giveaway that they must not make it to the altar, because why would they show everyone?
Right.
I think that's almost
I don't think they should show all this in the previews.
No, but I almost think too, if you go, it'd be interesting to go back and watch the previews for the other season, because I think they almost do. Whoever makes it to the altar gets shown in the preview that they've made it to the altar.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So you kind of know from the get-go who actually makes it.
Yeah, they're never like hiding.
Which makes it almost feel like I could probably just sit there and watch I could watch the little preview, and then I could go watch the wedding day episode, and that's all I would need to watch. Because I
Why?
know, or I guess,
Then you wouldn't know who anybody is.
or at least to the points of like seeing who matches up with each other.
So you're saying see the previews, see the pods,
Well, because
then check back in for wedding day.
Right,
And don't
'cause
even
it's
see what
like-
happens in between.
I've already seen the matchup. I know who the wedding couples are. I know they make it to the wedding day. I mean, I guess unless I want to see like how they fall apart, but it's like I mean, I guess it's the journey, right? I guess starting at the pods and seeing the wedding, right? But I already kind of know the end result for some of these people,
Right, but you didn't get to enjoy all the argument.
right? I guess that's the bread and butter of this whole thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You wouldn't want to miss out on that, would you? You wouldn't want to cut your experience short.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Then you wouldn't get to see all this drama.
Yeah. But these previews, I will say, I guess it's the way they want you to kind of feel, but it almost does look like none of them say yes.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
they're all. I mean, all of them look like, someone out of the relationship is like just
Doubtful.
bawling,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
crying.
What
out
was
of
the really bad one we saw where
that was Bart at the end.
Bard
I think
Hut and
Bart is
she
crying.
is crying in her veil and wedding dress and she hugs one of her friends outside the chapel, which that leads you to believe like she ran out of her wedding and she's super upset.
Right. Like some of them just show like they just looked really bad. Like they tried this last season, right? Because they had the one girl with the US one now who's escaping me, but she was crying. Daniel and Taylor.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where she was crying, but that was her hugging her father, and
Which we speculated this could be actually a really nice moment.
we knew that. Well, I had felt like a high certainty that was just it was a genuine moment, right? It was just most tears and tears of joy, happiness, and whatever.
But someone outside of the chapel, that really makes it like a 75% chance they ran out, right?
Yeah, well, a lot of these were
Unless
like
she's walking up.
I don't know, the way they were all crying. I mean, all the different people, the way they were crying looked like heartbreak. It didn't look like joy.
Who's
or
the one that rips up the
emotionalness.
paper? Is that
That
Cal?
was Cal, yes.
Yeah.
So like a lot of them looked like bad crying. It didn't look like happy crying. So to me, it looks like I'd kind of say at this point, I don't think any of them.
Or I think Cal may be trying to like throw us off with the ripping of the paper.
Yeah, I
That's
guess
the only one that I think maybe they could.
I'd have to go back and I can't remember if there was a scene that we saw where Sarover, we could tell it was Sarover crying. Right, there is the scene where Cal rips it up. That I
At the
don't think is
altar.
bad. That could be him,
Ripping up his old life or something, like
right? Or it's
symbolic.
like his vow, and then he rips it up and says, "I actually just want to speak from the heart versus what I wrote," or something.
Right.
Something of that. He's making a big effect there.
But they're making it like, ooh, he's just like ripping up his vows, about to walk out.
Yeah, I'd have to go back, and if there's a Sarover scene crying, then I'd say probably. But yeah, I don't think that led to. There might have been something else. I thought, but now I'm doubting myself. I'd have to double check. But anyway, But yeah, the previews looked pretty dystopian, regardless. So
It doesn't look great so far.
yeah.
But we will see what happens next time. We won't get all the answers, but we will get some.
Yeah, we'll see the lovely prep days. I really like the the picking of the dresses and all that, all those shenanigans.
Bachelor and bachelorette party.
Oh right, yes, yeah.
Yep. And then one person leading up to the altar. Or
Yeah.
two people. One couple. Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of A Fine Podcast.
Yes, we will see what happens next time. Thanks for checking us out, and like and subscribe.
What'd you think of these episodes? Let us know. And we're excited to go over the next episode.
Yes, we shall see what unfolds.
What will unfold?
That'll be decided.
Until next time. Goodbye.
Ciao.
Ciao.